Hello, everyone. Welcome to another midnight match. I hope all of you are ready to get your piano flex on because it is Highway to Piano Skills 5. We are going to be traveling all around 3 worlds trying to find all 8 pianos and become the absolute piano virtuoso.
Hope y'all are ready for a lot of bad piano for like the first couple halves of this.
You got to build up your skills.
Gotta start somewhere, but my god, Bartz's early piano skills are something to behold.
I need to know though, for people who play Career Day, is there a Career Day objective just to get all the piano skills?
Oh, there should be. If anyone in chat plays Career Day, please let us know.
Please.
Yeah, I don't play Career Day. I do the 4-Job Fiesta. I love that, but that's all vanilla stuff.
Also, shout outs to the absolutely amazing piano jack, which is the music that's playing underneath this. But more importantly than pianos, which as we all know protect you from the void, we have an amazing race set up here for Cubs and frankiebones. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to y'all. Slur stuff like y'all. Have yourself a great race.
Yeah, thanks, Scala. And I'm just imagining, piano is now playing as you're exiting the room. Though, of course, you're still here. But anyways, hi, welcome. I'm Solaris. I'm with Deathlake. Scala Kitty's on Restream. We got Soapbox doing the tracking for this Blue Moon Waning race between Cubsrule and frankiebones. Game 1. And we've got a foo start, and we've got some objectives, including one I'm seeing at the very end there. But before I go into that, Deathlake, how you doing?
Doing great. I thought we were in a different stream all of a sudden, but no, this is a lot of fun. Join, if you play a piano, I think you play piano with a bard. You learn something. That's how the whole thing works. But we didn't get an Edward start, so that's a womp. But looks like a fun seed. I mean, you get a foo start and all the wonderful bosses and favored water hag, because you need something. If you need a roadblock and 3 hits, water hag is your guy.
Yeah, Water Hag, notorious on this flag set for having a 1% chance to roll out of our YAMLs. So, of course, Scala Kitty, who is the one who originally asked if we could do this. I'm right. That's my brain is thinking red or blue moon. Well, Water Hag's still fun. Red moon, it's a 1% chance. Blue moon. What I actually like about Water Hag is that you see a blue robe, you have to do it. It's kind of like comforting in that way, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you only have 2 options and you have to do both, so there's at least it's no decision. You got to do it. So
yeah.
The Wool Gauntlet, always a staple of both moons. So you're not gonna miss that, and Golbez, because you have, if you need a laugh, he's your man. And but with the others, some interesting bosses on the table. I think. Can I summon a vanilla ruby? That would be something, because he's on the table.
Yeah, that would be great. Whenever I look at the boss objectives, I'm always thinking about what are the weaknesses, what are the strategies, and for this, I'm seeing a couple elemental weaknesses in the ruby, and the D-lunars, and then the freebies, and of course there's that wyvern evil wall kind of hanging out there. So this is a pretty interesting collection of things that are either free or pretty terrifying, depending where they show up.
Yeah, surprise blarg anywhere is always a threat. Fortunately, we start with some star veils, probably worth keeping around. Maybe shop for a few more for Golbez. Depends on how the battle goes. But yeah, the starting star veils, especially with this flag set, for both moons, will help out in that. I think the only one we'd have to really worry about is maybe like an Azura to early Azura that might consume a star veil, as sometimes Azura might be too tanky and will need an extra wall. But hey, we have all the white magic and a nice mystery moon boss.
Yeah, that's a sparkle at the bygone spot that is notable. Going to be notable for the runners because that could be our wyvern. But yeah, Fu and Rose at a start, and we're kind of off to the races here.
I think we're only looking for 2 moon bosses, so it's just wyvern or D-lunars. So those are two dragons and
The D-lunars, yeah.
Yes. So in this flex, it would be popular to take a peek for Bedward. We need to see that freaky item, but hey, they've already diverging, and Cubs has decided let's peek a mist. Frankie going for the two characters of Mysidia. So those are decisions. Some might be good, might not be as interesting as you'd like.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me on Blue Moon, especially with that free key item and the 7, or the 5 remaining free characters that are on the overworld, how runners like to route. I think most prefer to get that freebie out of the way pretty early, but I have seen some runners kind of put it off until later. You're usually not really punished unless, like if it's the Earth Crystal, or maybe the Hook. Those are maybe the 2 most punishing to put off for a while, but we're gonna get to see right now what that freebie item is. And it looks like it's the Hook, so speaking of.
Yep, so probably Cubs might consider a Fabul Fade if early pan comes up, but right now we can turn in the Rat Tail and see, maybe that might be it. Frankie finds out, hey, Punch Mage, we have I think all the mages, I think it was Iridia and some other character at Mysidia, so yeah, there's a lot of mages in this party at this point.
Crystal Ring and Gaia Hat in the public treasury here, both very good items to find. Of course, we have the Neki flag on in this Blue Moon set, so Fu is not really wearing any gear of note. Might have a mage stat. Actually, yeah, it looks like he's just got bow and arrows. So Gaia Hat's pretty nice for him. And of course, that Crystal Ring is an amazing piece of armor.
Yeah, Crystal Ring, effective versus dragons, which can be very useful, especially with, we know we're guaranteed 2 dragons, although one of them punch. So, but a lot of the kind of critical bosses or in fights will involve a dragon. So we're talking, say a gauntlet on a lot of spots, like on the moon. There will always be a dragon to punch you, and Frankie has found elements on the waterfall. So yeah, that's not happening.
You think, are they just like taking a day trip to the waterfall? Is it like, is it like a team bonding exercise?
Communal bath. That's I think that's what they call it. Communal bath.
Yeah. Kind of like the Korean bathhouses. Just having a spa day.
I thought weren't those Japanese, or is it actually Korean? I can't.
Maybe both. Actually, maybe just both. There's my brain goes to Korean because there's a Korean one by where I live, but I think both.
Yeah, some vanilla in Damsian. That's which probably I think that was an immediate eat. I think probably at this point Sid might be just a designated anchor in this party at this point. We don't know what the last character is on Ordeals, but everyone else, at least everyone is available outside of Fu, who can only be the starting character. So if it's a surprise Cecil or Edge, this is very mage heavy with a Yang, and he's the punch mage.
Yep, and runners just kind of crossing their paths really quickly here. I'm very curious what that rat tail is. I think we might see that turned in fairly soon. Maybe even before any of the other checks here. And then, we'll kind of get to standard routing. Thunderclaw, I also missed in the little pot there in the public treasury of Troya. Also very nice, just knowing that you have a Yang in party. I'm always happy to see that. And then there'll be one character outstanding, right, at Ordeals. I don't think we've seen that yet.
I think the public treasury is underrated, especially in this flag set. I mean, it's right. It's basically 8, well, it's really 9 because of the hidden one in the pot, which is a lot. And hey, Avenger, but we don't have anyone to use it. So
I'm going to Ordeals immediately if I were Cubs. I really want to know if there's a Canner Cecil in the seed, like yesterday.
Yeah. But the worst case, you can probably sell it off. I mean, it's money for something that we need. I'm not sure what we need yet. Maybe with a Yang in the party, maybe aim for some cat claws. That's maybe some stat sticks. Well, right now shopping doesn't seem to be on our runner's mind, so I not. And at this point, shopping, especially with the loot being good, shopping is only necessary if you're not getting whatever necessary from loot. So
yeah, it's a couple things to me. One, this isn't really the party where like an amazing piece of gear is gonna change a lot. Like, yeah, cat claw is nice, but early game it's still Yang's still not very good. It would be enough though, but we've got that Baigan, so I think the strategy for these runners is going to be to run down every boss in the game in order that they can until they get functional spells on that Fusoya. Because of course every boss that we kill, right, you get 3 free spells, and they're weighted so that the more that you kill, the more likely you're eventually to get like Virus, Quake, and of course the ever-present, ever-looming Nuke. And there's an Edge. Okay, so Edge is in the seed. An Avenger Wielder is not in the seed, but Edge is a pretty good party member. And yeah, goodbye, Edward.
Yeah, unfortunately, other than that, if you keep Edward, you maybe eat the Yang. That would have been an option. Spoon right now is still at large, so maybe Edward can still get back into the group if a Spoon shows up early. So wouldn't right now. Edward can take a break. Not quite needed until a Spoon appears. So.
Yeah, I am sometimes a fan of keeping Edward, just sort of like hedging my bets. You can still anchor with Edward, and having found the Crystal Ring, actually, Fusoya can still kind of act fast at the end game, because Fu's thing at the end game is he just doesn't gain agility or stats, really, as the entire seed progresses, so eventually he becomes kind of a problem, or it can be a bit of a problem to get to go in a turn order you'd like with a slow anchor, but the Crystal Ring kind of solves that problem. So like Edward was a viable anchor this seed, but it's fine. I think we've got a really good functional party for both both runners here.
Yeah, but I think for right now, Cubs has decided to do a quick grind. Not sure. I think it's mostly to get Rosa online a little bit. Sid is not going to gain much out of it. Edge is not going to gain much out of it. He needs equipment. Yang will still need the levels, but I think it's to get Rosa to Berserk, I think. Right now, it's still not enough, but I think that's what Cubs is thinking. Like, by the time Ordeals and whatever else is done, Berserk is going to be online, especially with the number of Berserkers on his team.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. The challenge for me is that levels on Rosa don't honestly do a whole lot to output damage, and the levels on Yang, they're going to be nice. I'm not sure they're going to be very functional. I think I would have liked to see routing, when you do these Fu seeds, this is kind of what I was saying earlier about trying to get these early game bosses in, so that you have, power kind of escalating. But Ordeals is still very viable to do, and we find our first objective right away. It's Wyvern at the Mylan spot.
So, yeah, Blarg at this spot. Still, it's actually very dangerous given the spell multiplier is still it. Yeah, see that? See the numbers? Yeah.
Yeah,
that's yep. You only need one, but you can't just underestimate the spot for the spells. Mylon is, while kind of a nuisance normally, but has a reason spell multiplier that can do work. So you can't just, even if you were at like end game levels, you still can be nuked to oblivion.
Yep, you sure can. And it kind of makes sense for me for Cubs to spend a few of those to get experience, just because on these flags you start with 2 starter kits that give you Star Veils, so you tend to get like, I don't know, between like 4 and 8 Star Veils. And Edge is so fast in the middle there that you really have the time to get them off. Meanwhile, Frankie's saying, I only really need the one. I'll just conserve the rest. And like you were saying, you only really need one you can get through. And then back attack is free with the DKC, so the Sword Deals ended up being a really good play for both of them.
Yeah, with the Rosa living, she gets the XP that's just needs it for the Berserk. Not much else at this point, because I mean, effectively 3 Berserkers in the front. You probably want to try to avoid needing to buy some box mine. Probably, even though if a shop appears, you know, a stack of them will be purchased. But at the very minimum, it's having some relief with when you don't have access to it. This is pretty valuable.
Yeah, and we're not going to get underground right away, and Eblin isn't guaranteed. Eblin has the 2 tier 5 items in it, and then the shop on the way down the hook route. It's not guaranteed to have Bacchus. Oh, there's a darkness crystal. That's spicy. Okay, and a Mylan or a Mylan Sud in the mirror room. Which is it? Doesn't really matter. Okay, it's Mylan Sud.
Shouldn't be too long. Just needs a little quick burn.
All right, so darkness this early. That's spicy. Would you like to explain why that's spicy, Dufflick?
Well, part of it is if we. Actually, I don't know what the reasons are at this very moment. A little stuck because, you know, Moon has a lot of things on it, like, you know, bosses. When you have Lunar Subterrane, you get 5 bosses. The Giant, if you want to do a grind, but we need we can do a grind if we really wanted to, but Fu has to learn Weak, and we have to figure out when that appears.
That's where I was going. That's what's spicy. Fu can learn Weak somewhat early. It's not super common, but there are enough bosses on this overworld, especially if more key items show up that give us boss checks. You know, if the Rat Tail gave us a Baron Key or an Earth Crystal, or even the Twin Harp, if we get access to Weak before going underground and one runner chooses to take that for a grind, there's a Rydia and Mysidia that both runners put away. There's a Yang that you can, or a Rosa, you know, somebody that you could set up for that second slingshot if you really wanted to. Though I think it'll be a little challenging for both of them now. But yeah, like that could really change the pace of this race. It really just depends. Depends what happens with his spells and kind of what the next maybe 10 minutes look like here.
Yeah, so probably it behooves both runners to just go see what spells they're going to get from the boss grind, even in spots where they don't find the boss required for the objective. But you know, you want Fu online as much as possible. So it's kind of hard. I mean, definitely can swap out characters and you know, maybe like say swap out Yang, put in a Rydia, you know, just for nuke, and because she'll be the best target to be slingshot capable.
Yes.
Slingshot being the double XP for being 5 levels under the median level. The middle, whoever is considered the one with the middling numbers of levels. That is which is why Rydia is a perfect candidate for this.
Yeah, I mean, she starts at level 1 and everyone's going to be at least 5 levels, but, you know, way more than that above her. And, you know, like, the chat's kind of pointing out, like, the D Machine on the Blue Moon seeds, and really D Machine on T Wildish seeds in general, tends to be less incentivized because you have such good gear available. But when evaluating this seed and what's going on at this exact moment, Edge is rocking 2 silver daggers, and we have Yang, Sid, and Rosa, who none of them terribly benefit well from power overwhelming as far as gear goes. And in the Mysidia and the Tower of Wishes, we have a Rydia and an Edward, who also don't offer any real power, at least immediately, right? So if there's going to be a Blue Moon seed that kind of incentivizes you to go that way, even with Fu learning Lit 3 right now, like this could be one of them.
I'm in the if it were Red Moon, the decision is probably a bit easier. You just go full, probably more.
Oh, it's much easier. Yeah.
Here, it's more. I like it's nice. It's the option on the table. It's just it's not compelling. You probably I see like maybe a Evelyn dive just to see if you can get Edge online, and that's about the best you can do. And, maybe hope for a cat claw or two. And that's what you get. And Frankie for his troubles gets a pass, and saw some D-Lunars. So we have gotten all our sparkles taken care of at this point.
Yeah, and also the Kaipo soldiers were there as well. Cubs finding the CPU at the Hobbs spot, and he's taking this fight because of Fusoya. Again, every boss that we kill is three spells. And even if we're not looking for weak, if we don't really want to do the D-Machine grind, we still want, would love Nuke, like that's the target, and it is possible in the overworld. It's not super likely. But even Quake, or of course we saw that Lit 3 is going to come pretty early here. Just trying to get that Fu online and just get ready to take on this hook route.
Yeah, Frankie's head on the boss kills at this point. So, but still, just the boss behind. I think is it Cubs that skipped elements altogether. So, probably not with enough spells to take it on. With Frankie, I think having a few more levels, I don't think we found a good spell for them. Frankie has reset it out of that, so I guess it wasn't going fast enough, and not probably. And makes sense. If you're not efficient, you might as well do something else.
Yeah, that spot's always a bit of an awkward one because it's actually really fast because Octomam is there in vanilla, and the whole shtick there is that every couple times you hit Octomam, it slows down. So it means that spot's really fast, and I'm pretty sure he was fast anchored for that fight. It just kind of... It's not dangerous for Frankie, but it was taking a lot of actions. The Ruby phase might have ended up casting a lot of spells, and actually that might have been kind of a problem, so I don't blame him for just resetting out.
Yeah, there's sometimes...
Speaking of... where was this 4 bosses already? This is Ruby at Outline. Sorry, go on.
No, I assume Skull has somewhere to go.
Yeah. Hey, ninja sword.
Yep.
There's a ninja sword.
Well, that's
honestly a really good reward. Yeah. That takes me away.
Yeah,
that takes me away from wanting to D-Machine.
Yeah, if another some more Hanzo Steel shows up, probably might think of skipping Evelyn. Like you won't really need effectively 2 long swords, but ideally a ninja sword or plus something better, and you're usually set. That's a good thing. Though I think both runners have equipped 2 Thunder Claws, which do not really they don't stack on the same character, which it's fun. It's how things work. Having this 2 of the same claws, you don't get double the effectiveness. You only need 1, which is one of those small Final Fantasy IV things.
But Yang can just scream double thunder punch every time he attacks, and it's not more effective, but it makes him feel good.
I do like 2 punches. It does have a better sound.
Cubs finding out. The elements have pretty irritating elemental weaknesses and absorbs. They tend to absorb. I want to say they absorb everything that they're not weak to.
Yeah.
It just makes them really annoying. Finding out that Ruby is actually absorbs lightning.
Well, I think we saw some lightning on regular Ruby. Elements Ruby is much tankier. The only element that doesn't care, actually doesn't absorb anything, is Val. But that's the last, Val's the last one in the sequence. So yeah, it has to be matching, or nope. So both are pretty much, both runners are kind of doing each other's bosses. So kind of about to reach the point where they're going to convene at least at Evelyn Castle. Although it's not sure if either will take it, but right now, if you're halfway there, I think you have a chance. If you still loot, you'll find the next piece of Hanzo Steel for Edge.
Yeah, that's fair. You'll have to apologize as I ask this, as it's late here, and this is going to be my excuse for this entire race. Have we turned in the rat tail yet?
I think the answer is a no.
I don't think so either. So that could also lead towards something too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Avenger. That had the Avenger.
Oh, that's
That
right.
had the Avenger? That had the Avenger. Okay. See, it's just, it's just this time. Time is a thing. Cub's going through. Of course, this is D-Lunars into Kaipo Soldier, so he'll be fine there. So yeah, I think we're going to converge on Eblin here.
Yeah. We're pretty much halfway there. So I think.
But are we living on a prayer?
Not really. I think probably need a grind. That's what it is.
I think they're living on a foo prayer right now. Actually, yeah, it's a pretty good party here. And yeah, we see Frankie heading into Eblin. I like going to Eblin Cave first here. Kind of alluding to what you were saying earlier. I like checking the shop. Because one, you could find hourglasses or coffins that help you deal with the traps if you want to take them. Not super necessary, I think. But also, the shop could just have ninja swords. Or full moons, and just kind of solve your need to even go in there.
I think at this point I don't think from a spell point of view, Fu has not found a decent spell like a Quake. Like, we have Lit 3, but that's not the spell we want. We don't have even a virus, nuke. These are like what effectively amounts to suboptimal spells unless you're fighting elements, and that's about it. It's not. So right now, it feels a little bad. It's not terrible, but it feels bad.
Yeah, I mean it's suboptimal, much like this party, but you can make some stuff work with tier 3 elementals. I've definitely done it before. I've also gone down a hook route where my only good spell was white, the spell white. I've definitely made good use of that before. It's just one of those things that it has a slow charge when you have a slow anchor, or it's really magnified by having a slow anchor, how slow it can be. So you just got to be prepared for that. But otherwise, it'll still do the work. It's just you have to put in some extra effort.
for Burman not in seed. Yeah. Thanks.
So we have Crystal Sword Avenger in this seed. And don't have a Cecil, don't have a Kane. Yep. Edge can't even dart the Crystal Sword, which is maybe the most insulting part.
But the man who wields it has to hold on to it. You can throw the forged sword, Excal, but you can't do that for crystals. That's the way it is. It's too heavy for Edge to toss. That's the deal.
Now, the one nice thing about the Crystal Sword, where, I don't think Frankie's that mad, and I wouldn't be either, it sells for a huge pile of money. Look how rich that man is. He could buy like 10 ninja stars. I actually really like the idea of buying ninja stars here, by the way.
Yeah, the pricing it's pretty reasonable given.
I called it. I called it. He bought 10 of them.
Yeah. But Cubs has decided to be a little cheeky and has found a required boss in Golbez in Zot 1. That Mega Sister spot still has some decent but not overwhelming magic power, but it should be able to take care of it. I think, clearly Fu has the Crystal Ring, which is the key to protection against paralysis. So Golbez not too worried, although hoping Fu isn't the target of the spell.
Yeah, it'll just be annoying if Fu's the target. And actually, he gets that Fire 2 off. Huh. That worked out pretty well there. Yeah, this spot is so slow and anchored with that edge. He can kind of do whatever he wants here. He is setting up the Star Veil, but we'll find out if Golbez targets edge with this spell, if he even has time to do it. The magic stat here is pretty bad. I think he'll be fine. This is probably like a cast 1 Fire 3 and be done. Also, I love this play. Now, part of this play is how we were saying Fu's spells are looking kind of sad. This is another boss check, as well as being, the cheeky check for a possible required boss, which we did find. This is, being Zot 1, so very well done here. And he can also peek in. Okay, that's Quake and Fatal and Wall, so pretty good. So we've got Quake.
Yep. So we're probably gonna learn Nuke and Virus at the same time. That's what is gonna happen. We're gonna learn instance cast spells very late. Okay, well,
It's probably Nuke, Virus, and Weak in in one collection at the very end.
I mean, this for a Foo seed, having suboptimal spells, it's a thing. So don't be surprised when you don't get the spell you want, and then be shocked. Then be shocked when you start early with early Nuke, and then burn down the seed. So that's what happens.
Yep. I gotta wonder if Cubs is actually breathing a sigh of relief here, because even if D Machine is, we can debate whether it's optimal, suboptimal, whatever. Knowing like 100% positively that there is no access to weak early game just means like, okay, my opponent's not going to do it. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry if that strategy is better than what I'm doing. It just, we're on the same footing here. I would certainly feel reassured about that.
Yeah, it's an interesting kind of a knowledge thing when you know what spells you need to function, and Tella is easy, but Foo is a little more chaotic as our runners are finding out. So, and we have found the other Mylon. The dance party is here in King Queen Evelyn spot.
This is a great spot for the dance party. Punches very hard, but Mylon with his friends out doesn't punch, just casts his lit ones.
It should be mostly quick, although Frankie probably with the suboptimal spells, whatever, just cast. Oh, going full punch. All right.
Yep. Flame into Berserk. This is, I think it's going to work out okay, but it is because Milo doesn't punch very often, but he will punch. And whoever he punches will die, unless maybe it's that Foo who has the crystal ring on, I'm guessing. But yeah, we'll see. Because they both looted that public treasury. I think they both have it.
Yep. Yeah, so it's one of those Mylon surprise. The punch.
Yeah, doesn't even have time. Just lets you know his body's not doing so great. I saw Cure 2 and Exit, maybe? And I missed the first spell. So, still not great. Actually, wouldn't Frankie have gotten Quake there? Maybe it's Quake.
Cubs have some Quake.
Which is perfect for these dolls.
I think it was one more. I thought it was like one more. It was the last thing Cubs learned. So Frankie doesn't actually have it, but I think there'll be a decent assist from Edge. Although no, never mind. I forget Edge while having kind of a nice AOE, but his wisdom doesn't grow fast enough. It's actually pretty slow. When Flame works, it's great. When Flame isn't. If you're not targeting a weakness with Flame, Flame is kind of like a kick sometimes.
Yeah,
it's not as exciting as you'd think. It's
a better kick. Kick is really pathetic. It's a little better than that, but it's not great. The mute daggers help if you have those. And the reason I'm asking about Quake is because that means that Frankie has missed a boss somewhere. Oh, no, because he missed a boss somewhere in the overworld, right?
No,
what did Cubs do he didn't do?
Cubs made a cheeky
trip. Sure.
Cubs elements.
Oh, elements, right. That's it. He skipped elements. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, those are
Frankie, now Frankie of course didn't do Zot 1, but Cubs has not done the King Queen spot yet either.
So yeah, it's kind of like kind of power difference, and Frankie is kind of suffering for kind of quote doing this a little bit earlier. Even though it's not really that much earlier. You skip one Fade 1 boss, that's not usually going to cripple a Foo, but in the case of the spells gotten, Cubs would definitely kind of take advantage of this easily. So it's one of those strange things where Foo is usually normally having a decent set of spells, but it's not the spells that we actually want. And that's the difference. So, hey, we found the second Ninja Blade. That's where Frankie found his, or did he buy another? I don't remember.
I'm gonna guess he looted along the way, so he has it. Yeah, I see him swinging two of the same swords there. So yeah, must be. One thing I'm curious to see if Cubs does. You can actually toad The back dolls don't have the boss bit, so you can do various things to them. And the Toad spell actually stops their script from turning into Calbrina. It says turning into Calbrina, but then it like doesn't actually do anything. So that's a pretty good option if you don't think Quake will kill them.
I mean, if at kind of lower levels, you can probably use the Change Rod as an alternative. They'll still punch as hard as they usually punch, but once they get locked into their turn into Calbrina, they're kind of locked, so they're going to be effectively useless and won't be and you're not concerned about them anymore. So if you have a Change Rod, that is always an option, and I think that was Toad, so that would have been nice.
That's an interesting question. So Change Rod, you cannot AoE that, right? You'd have to target one doll at a time. You can AoE change.
Yeah. Piggy is a terrible spell. You would never use it.
Oh, the spell itself is awful. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can target everything like Toad. So but the best part of Change Rod is that the effectiveness is 100%. So you don't have the terribleness of the accuracy that it is. I think it's like 10%. It's unbearable. So
yeah, it's 10 or 20%. It's awful. And it gets multiple rolls, but even then at like 10%, it never hits. It also has a charge time of like a tier 3 elemental spell or something awful like that. It's just not good.
That's why the rod exists. To save, if you pick one up, it's always good for that particular utility. There's a few other uses for it, but most of the time you never need it until you actually need it. So that's fine. It was one of those times where you probably, I don't think there was an hourglass.
There's Virus. See it on Cub's side there with how does he? Interesting. Okay, yeah, I see Cubs has picked up Virus there.
So
and two other spells that I missed.
So Nuke and Weak are the last spells. That's all. I think Media was also in that pile. Well, that's wow.
Must be, yeah.
That's because only 3 spells left. There's three, but those are dummied white magic spells but pretend they don't exist because they don't have much value normally. They have some special utilities, but for this randomizer, not very effective.
Yeah, no. But one doll lives, gotta punch it. Yeah, that should be good enough there. Yep. Okay. Meanwhile, Frankie already through the hook route. Over at Dwarf Castle, finds another freebie in the Baron Guards. This could be kind of annoying here. This spot has a lot of health and a lot of attack power. I like to call it mini Ogopogo, at least certainly Martin does. But that must be mute arrows. Going to be pretty effective here, and the Toad spell will work too. Misses it though. It could work.
He wasn't. It's an off spot, so there are some that hate the off center spot spells, especially insta kill or insta cripple. Like I would consider Frog to be one of those crippling spells. So like those, I can see someone say, why does it happen to my opponents every single time? Why does it happen to me?
Yeah. I heard you say fraud at first instead of frog, and it's just like thought maybe that was like a clever joke, because it kind of was fraud in that moment. All right, there's Quake and Fatal for Frankie Bones. That makes me think he's 2 bosses behind, but that would be... Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's Elements, and it's that one.
I mean, the only... Bomb probably not too bad, though.
No, not at this spot.
But Frankie doesn't have the benefit of Nuke. His Fu is one boss behind. So this spot, I think you probably will just trigger the explosion and not get the Quake off. I don't think. I'm not sure that Frankie will be able to kill Bomb before it explodes, but at this point, I think at least try.
Yeah, he's gonna try. You could also just kind of, you can just hold, wait for it to explode, and then cast Quake. That would handle it too. Meanwhile, Cubs is running up the lower Babel Tower, has the tower key in hand. Finds Leviathan in the cannon room. Gonna get 3 more spells, of course. Should be his final ones. Actually, no, he already has his final ones, doesn't he?
Yep.
And then I actually missed what the top of tower boss was, but if it's an
Val.
objective,
It's
Val,
Val.
okay.
Not required.
I don't think he's going to be interested in that, but we'll see. It's certainly viable to. It's viable to do a half tower here, or it's viable to kind of skip it. But with darkness in hand, I think I like skipping it.
I think it. I guess
We
it
have
could be worth
5 bosses
skipping it.
already. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have darkness. I mean, you probably still want to try hope for a Baron key. That's the Val at the top of tower might be tanky, but doesn't have all the benefits. I mean, I think that the Val top of tower is also nukeable, so that makes it actually a lot more tempting. But I think Cubs is decided to fade it because why bother? Not required. Don't care.
Yeah, exactly. And for bosses, we still have the Fame Arch. We have all the moon spots. We have the giant. Like, there are a lot of boss spots left out there. We do have a lot of gating key items, though, remaining. We don't have Baron Key. We don't have Luca. We don't have Twin Harp. Speaking of Luca, we do have the warp glitch on this flag set, so Frankie is gonna warp and see what the sealed cave item is.
Yeah, certainly worth it.
Gets a spoon.
So Edward's back on the table. Maybe depends. I don't. Depends on what that when that grind's happening. If that grind is happening, then Edward actually starts to become on the table. Given that the whatever berserkers is edge. So if we get an Edward on the grind, replace the Yang, that might be, or Sid, that might be on the table.
Yeah, given how this kind of not great this party is, it's a bit tempting to go for a spoon word. The other option is, I saw at least one of these runners has an Artemis bow, Frankie certainly does, and really good arrows. That's actually functional enough for Sid. You get Yang levels, it's functional enough for him. Baron Key, by the way, in the Fame Arch freebie. Then, of course, you have Edge. That's 3 Zerkers. They're not, like, amazing Zerkers, but, 3 suboptimal Zerkers, or 2 suboptimal Zerkers and 1 pretty good one. Will get the job done. But Edward would be a lot faster, but more dangerous, because he just doesn't have the health growth.
I think it's be kind of more productive than what we have as characters. I mean, Yang's contribution requires levels, and even if we keep him, that might be interesting. Both practically free bosses, but they're not what we need. Dark Imps and Dark Elf together on the throne.
Yeah, I might have been tempted to try the Dark Imps, with like an off-slot stone or something, but I don't blame him for just saying, nah, I'm good. I mean,
probably might just do it for the XP. It's not that great at the position, but with the life glitch available, both moons, you might as well take advantage of that. So it might, and even if you, I think I saw some hourglasses. Found their sirens, so there's our grind.
Yeah, sirens are a great pickup. Life glitching really punchy imps would be, or fairly punchy imps would be kind of tricky, I think, without an hourglass. Frankie might be more incentivized. I believe did buy some hourglasses, would make that fight free. I don't mind taking freebies that are pretty quick, in case that they give you a gating key item that you might like. Though, we did find the Baron key. That's pretty tempting right now, too.
Yeah, Baron does sound like a thing. The only, I think the Sparkle we don't need to really care about. Although I think the Ogo's still at large, so that might slow things down a little bit.
Cubs has put the Lilith Rod on Fu. Is this going to be a D-Machine grind? I'm very curious right now. We'll have a moment, of course. He's raising the little whale. By the way, if you're ever like need a moment to think when you're in a race, raising the lunar whale is the perfect moment, because you get so much time to, wade through this cutscene and just kind of think like, okay, what's my game plan? Where am I going from here? What do I want to do?
I think right now, Cubs is ahead, obviously through the early Golbas is up one.
Yeah.
The thing that would get Frankie back in is if an Earth Crystal showed up, because
Yes.
that would force the checks to happen, and that would even it out. Otherwise, Frankie is really going to be behind. And just that alone, having when you're 5 of 7, and it looks like Cubs has decided, I would like to dump a character or two. Edward is the guy.
I think we're taking Edward and Rydia, and we're doing a D machine slinging 2 party members. Yep.
Makes a lot of sense.
Takes the Thunder Claws.
Edge needs it.
For
Yes.
that Edge. Thank you very much. Double Thunder Gang, you did. Salute, you did your service.
Frankie's going down Baron, hoping for something. So we know the first spot won't have bots, but so there's only 2 other spots. Baron doesn't look as appealing when knowing that we have the required sparkles gone. So, but still worth a check. There are always times where Baron, even being fairly dense in bosses, might not get you the boss you want. So that's interesting. At least in Cubs, definitely going for the D machine grind. So hoping to speed it up. I'm wondering if that's gonna. I mean, with the part construction, D machine grind for Cubs, it makes sense, but you wonder, is that gonna make up time for all that grinding being done at in the giant? Versus Frankie will probably do, maybe an egg or do 2 King Ryu grind.
Yeah, it's curious. It depends on. Okay, this is Plague at the buy-in spot. It really depends if 10 key items show up, which would double the grind. Because I think a very viable way through the seed is to just play it without a grind until you get to those 10 key items, just off the back of basically Fu and kind of Edge. But 2 benefits Cubs gets here is that it's only 5 D machines to sling Rydia and Edward. And that may be all he's incentivized to do. So you'll have Nuke, you'll have Berserk, you'd have to do hybrid strats, but that's okay. Though maybe he'll be incentivized to do a bit more just to make Edward kind of healthier. I'll be curious about that, or to get Rosa to white. I'm not really sure about that, but so that's one. And the other is that there are actually 2 bosses here on the Giant, so we also get to see if one of our blue robes happens to be at the element spot.
Super free. It's not Gauntlet, but I think on that reset it means that Cubs knows it's free XP on the way to probably CPU spot. But that's a nice free elements spot that I've ever seen. That
Yeah.
You could not ask for a jet or kind of a jet level, one of the easiest bosses doesn't care about the HP spot because it doesn't care.
Yeah, no, it's honestly a perfect setup. And another perfect setup here is that normally with the Tela, because normally we see Tela doing this, right? Because with Fu you often have the power, so you kind of don't need to do a D-machine grind. But with Fu, you get to anchor with Rydia, because otherwise you'd have to put Tela in the center, because he's just kind of not strong enough. Otherwise, he might miss his week, but Fu doesn't really have that problem. So you get this perfect anchoring, which just makes the D machine grind just feel really nice and smooth.
I mean, Fu having kind of a staple 20 agility until level 70. So level 70, there's a lot of variants, and Fu takes forever to gain a level, and you're not really starving for levels for Fu. I mean, it's going to be pretty solid. Oh, watching Eddie totally whiff, but base level Eddie, back row, I don't even know what the starting weapon is. It doesn't even matter. It's
These party members cannot hit this. Beamer's kind of cracking me up.
It's a struggle.
I'm being informed I actually missed it. From Baron. It's the greatest of rewards. It's a magnet key, which, you know what? I think Frankie's probably pretty okay finding a magnet key, because it does lead him towards 10 key items, but this is where you go, I'm obligated one more time. Not really more than this. Found a magma key.
We can
Kind
get
of getting tired of
underground.
doing this.
We
Kind
can
of
get
getting tired of the fact I can get underground. And I'll be monotone for that as well. But you know what? It's fine. It's fine. He got it. He has a magma key. Now he's doing the alt gauntlet. It's like, it's whatever. Here we go. It's so exciting.
At least Frankie's getting his grind on.
Skull's just giggling in my ear that entire time. Anyways, oh, by the way, that's also no mode. we've got dueling, well, not dueling blue robes, but you know, we have a blue robe on one side and kind of a blue robe just waiting on the other side here. So this is kind of a jet. This is kind of a jet.
Certainly moving at a pretty brisk pace. Though, at least Frankie's getting it at least on the way, which is not it. So probably won't have to do too much of additional grind. I think we're kind of getting close on the key items right now at 8. So not quite there, but the grind will be quick if you know, a key item shows up. So it's only one more, and yeah, Cubs is doing the D machine grind. Can be risky, although this is normally pretty safe because fire doing HP based damage. So it doesn't really matter how much HP. Radia will only take I think it was fire's like 1/5.
3. It was like she took like 3 damage. Yeah.
So yeah, it's
maybe
not moving the needle.
Still, yeah.
It's not moving the needle that much.
Now, I will say, because we found this blue robe here, I am pretty worried for frankiebones. This is no mode, meaning that we know where go mode is, but the runners don't. Cubs is up on that Golbez, having done Zot 1 without an Earth Crystal. Very well done, cheeky check early game. And I think Cubs has 2 options here. He's either incentivized to run immediately to the moon and just hope to spike there from the density, or, and I think this is probably the more likely play, is that he'll finish up Earth, at least the boss checks, meaning run to Baron, do that, check the Baron throne, and that'll put him in go mode, whereas Frankie is really nowhere close without that Earth Crystal. So this is a bit dangerous. This is very much an inflection point. You know, we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, if the Earth Crystal doesn't really show up in Frankie's path, it's we just kind of it is that point. So yeah. What also can be problematic is if, say, Evil Ball is like in the CPU spot. That would also be a problem.
Oh, if it's in the CPU spot, that would I really shouldn't even laugh about that. That would just be death. Frankie would have to run to do a D machine grind if that were the case, but it's not likely. We'll see.
I don't. It doesn't feel like a D machine grind from Frankie's side isn't as necessary. I mean, unless there's a thought to change the party as currently constituted, it doesn't feel that way. Although Cubs is, where did we find the spoon again? It's Cubs is. I'm trying to remember if Cubs actually has it.
The tower key? No. Somewhere. Dwarf? No, warp glitch. I think the warp glitch. I think it was a warp glitch.
Okay, so that makes sense. So both have done.
All right, just a silver apple, but that is Frankie's 5th boss down. Yeah. Not the Earth Crystal, sadly. So, yeah, I think you're right that Frankie. If I were in Frankie's shoes, I mean, I could commit to Edward right away, or I could just say that Artemis Bow, Ninja, and a somewhat level Yang are going to be sad but good enough, you know, plus Fu Nukes, and just kind of move on with the seed. Or if you're comfortable with it, another viable strategy through the finish of the seed is to do what we call Fu and Friends, where you have Fu who's casting Nuke, reflecting, and you're trying to reflect damage, at least at the very end, so you don't get the hit point refill script, and you just have other party members trying to contribute where they can, however they can, whether it's using crystals or whatever to bounce bounce nukes back onto Zeronis, or just dealing chip damage. So that's actually another way through this too, which would point towards not doing a D-Machine grind.
At that point, it's really getting Rosa up to 1200. She's gonna be the one the slowest to get up there. All the berserkers having HP, Yang, Sid, Edge. So Rosa would be the only one who needs to get 1200 to make the Fu and Friend strat pretty solid for the most part.
Yeah, you can do it with 4. Honestly, I think you could do it down to 2. It's just a lot slower and maybe a little bit more dangerous. You do need some, like Cure 3s or whatnot to kind of make sure you get through that. But I think the Rosa would be like if just Rosa didn't have it, probably would be okay. But we'll see. Okay, Frankie running up the tower. And yeah, Cubs taking on that water hog. Chad asking, did you know ethers are made from sad circuit tears? It doesn't make sense, but
it seems true. It sounds true to me.
It just sounds really true to me right now. I don't know. I don't know if I'm tired or what, but just that really cracks me up.
Starting to wonder.
Cubs is preserving Edward as the anchor. That makes sense.
Cubs did not do the warp glitch, so didn't get the spoon. So spoon word is not on the table. It's not. So I don't even know what who's gating the Luca key, but so it won't need Edward. Kind of lost to Cubs outside of being an anchor. So not the worst. It's just one of the. If Cubs did the warp glitch, probably would have remembered to do it, but.
Yeah, it'll turn out to be okay for him this seed. We'll have Rydia and Fu kind of bouncing nukes, and actually very well done. Counted it out. Got white on Rosa off of this elements fight. Certainly going to save, check CPU. If it's not a boss that we need, we're going to move on to the moon. So the seed is coming to a rapid close, unless again, Cubs doesn't run to Baron, and Evil Wall is playing hide and seek master.
They could. We have the pass, so you're kind of more incentivized to do the moon at that point.
For density's sake, for sure. It's an interesting question. I don't think there's a wrong answer. Okay, Kinatsu, not our Evil Wall. So gonna reset out of that and warp out of the giant.
Yeah.
Wonder if Frankie made a swap here.
Yeah, I think it was a Rydia swap from Sid. I think. So
it's probably an anchor swap. I'm gonna guess if it was just that. Yeah. Okay. It's time to. Frankie says, "Let's go to the moon." Don't blame him.
It might be problematic as well if the only boss left is Evil Wall that's on the table. So if Evil Wall say K value, then because that might be a problem. But given density, maybe K value may be skipped. It's hard to want to skip a boss when you can face check and you can see what the boss is, and that's usually information where all the LST spots are unknown until you actually fight that spot. So
it's tricky. I think depending on the comfort for Frankie, you've got 2 blink casters. You can get through that fight. You're probably going to lose a little bit tempo at the starts because Evil Wall cheats and punches about twice as much as it's supposed to. But once you've got the blinks up, it can get pretty safe and you can deal out a lot of damage. But okay, we're good. It's just the Maga Sisters. Looks like we are going to take some Sirens, maybe, is what's happening here?
Yeah, this is
the time. Do some Gold Dragons. Yep, this is the time.
Time to grind because it actually needs the levels, particularly on Rosa and Yang to a lesser degree. Well, actually, probably more also on Yang, but Rosa with the levels to cast White. It's a little. I think right now, party currently constructed is more of a hybrid team. If especially when Rydia is officially the anchor. Just
Yeah. and honestly, I mean, even if he doesn't go to white, you do need some levels on this team just to get like Edge, some more multipliers, and Yang to actually contribute, and then getting like Cure 4 and Rosa. I think that would be kind of a great starting point to take on moon bosses if you're expecting you need to do that, you know, as a path to clear this seed. But yeah, Cubs. Cubs didn't go to Baron. Cubs ran straight to the moon. It's very defensible. It makes a lot of sense. You like the density here more than Baron. Baigen 1 did not have... it had that sparkle, but we already have both sparkles we needed gone. So that's giving frankiebones some much-needed room to breathe here.
Yeah, I mean, with the and unfortunately
there's
stumbling.
Evil Wall. Well, I suppose I spoke this into existence. All right, well that's go mode. We also know where all 8 bosses are. Also, goodbye, Rosa.
So one of the Evil Wall cheats through the chaining effect. So as part of the battle script, Evil Wall kind of casts a spell and then makes it move forward and then does the punch at this. So it's effectively one turn. But my understanding is the second, because of the chaining, Evil Wall starts its ATP while it's trying to do its second move, which is how it's cheating. That's how it gets its turns so quickly.
Yeah, the like not super technical way I understand it is that berserkers sort of similarly get to cheat when you have a slow anchor like Edward. So Edward has very low agility, and everyone else has enough agility to be fast enough that if you're zerking, normally there's I don't know, you definitely know a lot more of the technical details here, but basically the thing to know is that the Zerkers attack 2 times for every 1 time the boss would attack, and then Evil Wall sort of ends up emulating that. And that's the Earth Crystal behind Evil Wall. Well, that will eventually lead Frankie to go mode, but I think he's going to end up checking all of this moon before he even heads that way. This is... I don't want to take the wind out of our sails here, but this is heavily in Cubs' favor.
It's Cubs' race to lose.
I mean, like, very much so. Like, he would have to wipe a couple of times. Even then. Cubs
has already done his grind with the. And
we've got a pass.
So yeah, didn't have to worry about parking because happens in that spot. Oftentimes, when you've not completed Zot, you leave an airship not named the Enterprise there, and it looks like Cubs is doing some late game looting, which is the most interesting decision. Probably maybe trying to find another weapon for Edge. I'm trying to think
suppose. I love this.
Great treasury.
He's rewarded with the Masamune, so rate that treasury actually functional, like actual upgrade out of 10. I wasn't totally convinced we were gonna find, but a white shirt, another crystal ring, a rune ring, a Zeus glove, I think a Gaia hat, and that Masamune. That was a pretty good treasury.
That's a 9 out of 10. Didn't get a second Hanzo steal, but that's more than you're asking for. Looking, especially going through what Cubs is doing, trying to put on all the stat sticks for the Z fight. So this was a pretty lucrative rate that treasury. I mean, usually you don't, and well, this is T Wildish, but you can still get like more crystal swords that you don't need for this seed.
Yes.
So you can always wonder what junk you could also get here. So
yeah, the speedrunner in me wants to say, well, go. We don't need the gear, but having hit that hard, it will make this fight a lot easier for him. It might even incentivize him to try hybrid. He does, or not hybrid, to try full reflect. He doesn't have that spoon to finish off, but he still has, if he hasn't sold it, an Avenger. If he's got some decent darts, basically you could dart with edge, and then reflect the spells with the girls, and try to go about that strategy. And finding those stat items kind of makes it a lot more viable to me.
I mean, white shirt, charm rod, those are essentially stat equipment that you'd always
Gaia hat
for.
Yep.
And hey, I see all these Z's in chat. I'm confused. I guess it's
definitely
time to
bedtime.
sleep. Yeah.
Definitely bedtime.
I mean,
good night, everyone.
Yeah, we started late. I mean, what could it possibly be? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not actually time for that. Not yet. Anyways.
Do you think we fooled them this time? No. Anyways, go on.
Yeah, it's that time of the night. Z, and we can't move it. We can't do anything outside of maybe we could. It's kind of ugly. It needs a little sprucing up once it's cosplay, because this is a randomizer, and seeing randomized things happen, that's the deal. So, but that question always needs to be asked, and I guess whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Booty, booty, booty. Whose booty we gonna kick tonight? Whose booty? Booty. Hey, it's a big booty. Apocalypse. Yeah, I like that one.
He's big.
He's big.
It's an apocalypse. It's how you know big guy. Oh, that reflect missed because it's still in its invincibility phase. But,
the strat is to that ends up working out for as far as timing goes, is that you have that bottom Rosa charge white and then have Fu in that spot cast the nuke. But I want to say that if there's a chance that because he's a battle speed 4, that's why at 3 it's a lot more consistent, but at 4 if you throw the crystal and the Star Veil early enough, Rosa will get her turn. I want to say while that crystal is throwing, and that kind of throws things off, but that's okay. We've got so much power in this team. It's I don't think it's going to matter a whole lot.
Yep. Sheer reflect strats on the table. Frankie looks like he's going to keep diving, and that might, and if it's not a dive actually back into and check the Earth Crystal, that's kind of unfortunate. So we as we know, the spots that we need to actually check is Barren Basement, although which he does have. It's and the giant spot. So that's not going to happen. So
yeah, my guess for Frankie is that he's going to run through face check all these moon spots, and then I would be more well, I don't know, it's tough. Yeah, you can either gamble on the Earth Crystal, or you can start taking on moon bosses, hoping for more getting key items, or actually he's probably going to run to the giant right after this, because these are all the open boss spots, right? So
yeah, at least the face checks will be quick, but that's just time consumed. So it's one of those things where I think Cubs did the gamble, so that's really the difference. Yep.
And yeah, to answer a question in chat, Apocalypse is a villain. This is from the X-Men, right? It's like
yes,
a big bad, right, from that universe. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if it was like an actual guy or the series of machines. Trying to remember, and it's not coming up, but it's definitely the X-Men.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. All I know about this Apocalypse, it's kind of attractive. I'm just gonna put that out there. Anyways, Cubs is done. GG's Cubs.
Yeah. And this blazing fast speed, it was good. It was a kind of a jet seed.
Yeah,
and
very much
with
so.
a gamble, with a slight gamble. So that helped quite a bit. Sorry.
Yep. All right. So that's game 1 for Cubs with an official race spot time of 1 hour, 4 minutes, 24 seconds, and we're joined by Cubs now. GG's. If you're talking, we can't hear you.
My heart has not stopped beating.
Even with the 10 minutes you had to chill?
No. I did. What? What was that?
That was everything coming up Cubs. That was a very well run race. I gotta ask first question. You have darkness from ordeals. What is on your mind as you're running towards Zot 1?
I said some not very nice things about RC Roller. I'm gonna be honest. No, I didn't. The one thing I asked for was please no D machine, and okay, well, fine, I'll do it, but I'm gonna complain the whole time. No, I was going up there. I'm at 1500. I have no virus, quake, weak, or nuke. I was just looking for something that wasn't Fire 3, and I just absolutely stumbled into that goal bus.
You spiked hard. It was amazing because not only did you get that gold buzz, you also got Quake for that hook route, which Frankie did not have.
It hit me about 10 minutes later. I forgot to check Dwarf 2, the thoughts. I'm like, oh, please, God, don't let it be there. Please, no. I mean, okay, sure. I got no words for that. This is easily the jettiest seat I've had on this flag set, and of course, it's Mr. 9% that does it.
Yeah, Mr. 9% with not the ideal party for Blue Moon, I'd say. But yeah.
Yeah, I took the treasury at the end because I had nothing. I had no gear whatsoever. Shocked I made it through the Everwall fight. I needed every little thing I could get my hands on, and thankfully it paid out.
Yeah, it was also pretty good treasury. It had what were we saying? Masamune, Gaia hat, crystal ring, rune ring.
I don't think
white shirt.
I didn't even get to use the Masa or Zeus. I wasn't counting.
Yeah.
I just like
and the Zeus gauntlet. Yeah, I mean it was the mage. It was the mage stats that you really got, but still, it kind of had everything.
The silent staff and the white spear or in the white shirt were
and the silent
invaluable.
Staff. Yeah. Yep. Pretty good. Were you committed to doing a D machine, like to sling Rydia, kind of? Like, was that your thought kind of all along, or, what guided you to that?
The moment I saw darkness, I just started gunning for weak.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay, I guess we're not getting it until we go underground. Yay. No, it just, as soon as the darkness came, it was just, where is weak? I'll get Rydia, and
as soon as the darkness came.
Well,
a dark cloud over here, guys.
Basically, what I'm not gonna pretend I didn't feel that at first. No, I went for an extra D machine or two just because I knew having seen the water hag, I knew Rosa wasn't getting to white otherwise. So
you timed it perfectly.
Yeah. I was just hoping for something that wasn't a turtle at CPU to finish it off.
Well, I mean, we were saying the kind of one out Frankie had was the Baron basement had the alt gauntlet. So, we were saying if maybe the moon didn't have the evil wall, but, turned out that 8th boss. So really all the bosses were sort of ish open, right? It just had to had to end up going there.
After Giant, the plan was just to face check the moon and then go Baron. So
the density makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. I think I was missing 3 or 4 spots at that point, and with everything I had left, if I didn't find it, well, I was dead anyways, so just had to hope and pray.
Yep. Yeah, missing Luca Key, Twin Harp, and Package for boss checks, which honestly, 3 out of however many were open, yeah, you were pretty likely to hit. But yeah, do you have any questions, Deathlick?
I guess is kind of. Were you disappointed or annoyed that week came late? I think all the spells that you really needed were packed in at the practically next to last.
It definitely, when I saw Quake after the Golbez, it made me feel a little better because I knew he wasn't gonna have week at that point either. Because I cleared everything there was, and everything you'd want on a Fu was just held until the very end. So if you don't go after everything, you're stuck with Lit 2, Fire 3 as your best option. So that was the one good thing going down the hook route. I knew that regardless of what I'd done on the overworld, he was going to be dealing with the exact same thing and dealing with a likely rough hook route with not the tools you want.
Yeah, I think the difference, at least when it comes to the hook route, is that he didn't have Quake, you did, and that was like time save. Even though you did your excursion to doing Zot 1, that at least that kind of doubly paid off for you.
Absolutely. Dead Zot.
99 carats. You did it, Frankie. Sorry, I had to shout that out.
I didn't even notice they were there.
You had to see to win. You're fine.
I saw the silk webs in that shop, and I'm like, "Yep, we're getting those," and I don't care what else is there.
Yep.
No, it's Rando. It's just every time I think I've seen something, all there is out of a seed, Rando has a way to surprise you, and it's just like, okay, sure, we're doing this. Hit me with it. The voice of God is very, very happy with herself. No, I'm somewhat delirious and don't really even know what I'm saying. It's 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely bed o'clock. Anything else for us? Otherwise, like again, just a very well done race. I've kind of covered everything I wanted to say. It was a delight to watch.
No, it's very much looking forward to watching it back. Thank you, both of you, for the commentary. Soap, I assume you did not eat the buttons. Also, #BlitzWhip. And Scala, you never cease to amaze. GG. Thank you very much. Now, I'm gonna let you all enjoy the harp music, and I'm gonna duck out for a little bit.
All right.
GG to Frankie as well.
All right. Thanks so much, Cubs. You have a good one.
Thank you.
All right, that was Cubs, our winner of tonight's set between him and frankiebones. This was game 1. They have 2 other games to play out, which I want to say are going to be between this week and next week. I'll go look at that, confirm that before we go off the air. But yeah, Frankie's in the Z fight now. Gonna get through. Looks like we don't have white on Rosa, but we've got the Zerker power. Should be able to get through this fight.
Yeah, let's probably do some hybrid strats with. I'm trying to remember what level. I know what level Rosa has to be to have white. So level 48. So, but I think she usually is a 2k HP for that. So
yeah. I usually look at her health. She gets like 22 to 2300 health. I want to say is where she gets white. So she's nowhere near that. But hybrid definitely the way to go. Really, when you do these lower level Zerk strats or like these hybrid strats, in my experience, the primary thing that you want is to be able to skip one of the big bangs. You want to be doing like a bit over 5,000 damage around with your Zerker swings plus the spells that you're slinging out. Because what can happen otherwise, with Zoromus' script, what he does is that There's not enough memory to have all the health on him that they wanted at once, so he has a refill script where he refills all of it, and you get this thing where before he can charge up a Big Bang that would come, even if he shakes, he gets that refill script going, and then he kind of forgets, about doing that Big Bang, kind of moves on with the start of this new script. Really gives you time to breathe, because otherwise you get a Big Bang and then you refill skip, and then that leads into another Big Bang, and it can become a big problem to overcome. So the hybrid strats are going to work out here. We're definitely dealing enough damage. Circers are doing like 4k around, and then we've got the Fu doing nukes.
Yeah, and trying to heal the Fu through the wall. So he's trying to contribute by doing reflect strats. So that should help speed it up, but he kind of needs a little bit of help from Zerker. So it's
exactly.
It's a bit slow, but as long as you get the effectively the reset from the refill script, then it starts to become a little bit more safe. When Big Bang into Big Bang is not to another quick Big Bang is not. It's not instant Big Bang, but it's like it's Big Bang shake Big Bang. That's devastating.
Yeah. It's awful, especially if you feel you need to nerf them. You practically don't have time to nerf them both. It's pretty nasty. So we see that nerf coming out, see where it goes. Goes onto Yang, that's the perfect target. Yang, without really any magic defense to speak of, could theoretically die to a nerfed Big Bang, but we'll see the 2 punches come out, and if this is nerfed well, or if it's nerfed well. Okay, Big Bang didn't come out there, but there was that long pause I think we just skipped.
Yeah, that long pause is always the indicator of the refill skip. The Big Bang isn't coming, so that confirms the kind of the safety that you kind of need to get, the essentially damage that you need to achieve in order for that to happen. It's not, it does seem a little shaky, but. Not to see, but for the strat itself.
Literally shaky.
Yeah, you do have to reach a certain level. Usually, I'd like to see like a edge at a bit more HP than that. Like it's kind of tangled. Oh, that means lost DPS from Fu. Or doesn't doesn't.
I don't think he needs it anymore, but
it's always one of those. Kind of it's kind of nice to have, I guess.
It is, yeah. You want that Rosa up, but that's okay. We will probably get a black hole, and then I think, depending on what happens here, I don't know if we have Bacchus. The recovery ends up either being resurking up, but we could end up in nuke into Big Bang, which makes recovery, like timing of recovery without that Rosa, kind of tricky. Or if we've done enough damage, this could be black hole into rock shortly, which probably would be the best case scenario. Yeah, Frankie opting to pick Rosa up, wants the safety, get the 2 white mages going.
I'm not sure if it's going fast. I don't remember how he put the wall up, but that wall came up pretty quick, and Yang is dead this time.
Yeah, there's the nuke. Yeah, this is going pretty fast. The battle speed might be. I didn't see if he changed it over to like maybe 3. Hard to say, but yeah, don't have time to pick that Yang up. Just got to heal the party up. Zerk up edge, so we have consistent damage going back out. And probably going to have to prime to nerf another Big Bang, because we don't know where Rox is.
Does Frankie change the battle speed at all this year? I feel like the default in Free Enterprise is 1. So
it's 1.
And then the default in the vanilla is 3, and 3 is usually pretty safe. And I've seen runners, tinker with other values like 2, or 4 at points, because that makes when it makes sense too. So
yeah, battle speed 1 is very fast, like very, very, very fast. Like it's so fast that like tasks of this game can't. They still like bleed ticks of ATB, going in and out of menus, but. A lot of runners like to just live at battle speed 1, like just don't bother with it, don't change it, they've got enough power. When you have Zerkers especially, every time a Zerker is attacking, the ATB is sort of not going while that Zerker is acting, or really any animation is playing out. And also they happen to do something with the timers that helps out buffer out these actions, just given the way ATB works out in this game. So you often have the time. It's really at Zeromus where trying to recover from like someone like Rosa going down and Black Hole coming out, that's where Battle Speed 1 gets really, really sticky. But we're at rocks here, so we're certainly safing it to get through now.
And there it goes.
GG's to frankiebones with an official race spot time of 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 57 seconds.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah.
I was to say, we'll see if he's available for an interview. And actually, there he is. GG's, Frankie.
Thank you. Jeez, Cubs. Heck of a race there.
Yeah, it was certainly a heck of a race from our seats. Yeah, how you? I don't know. Just tell us how you're feeling. How are you feeling about that race?
Actually, I feel pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I played it pretty well. I got thrown, I don't know, a bunch of curveballs that I handled pretty well, I thought. It was an interesting seed. I tried to play the route of not doing the D money grind. I felt a little behind after Calbrina, so I thought if I don't do D money, I could maybe save a little time if there's no bosses on the giant. As it turns out, there was one. I don't know if Cubs took it because in chat, I later found out that he found Golbez at Zot 1, which, which is great, but I didn't check it.
Yeah, so he did end up he did, yeah, it's interesting because I think I loved how you routed it, and I think the way you played it is probably the way I would have played it. Though the D machine was very much on my mind this seed, just because it was sort of that like 10%er of like not great party, not great gear, early darkness. There's Iridia in the seed. There's maybe even a spoon word. Though of course that didn't know about that till later.
Yeah, I think
Yang loves levels.
I think there's still slingshot potential for Eddie, but it was probably going to be reflex strats at that point if you were going to D
Yeah.
money. And yeah, I think it was a 7. I think it's either 7 with 7 life glitches, or I can't remember the exact number, which is pretty quick. So I don't know. It's one of those decisions that I'm not too upset about it. I don't know how far it put me behind. It's hard to judge because it seems like our route ended up going in different directions pretty quickly there towards the later game. So maybe if some of the bosses were in different locations, maybe the route turns out a little bit different. But it definitely slowed me down at the very end. I mean, you saw the Z fight. I was definitely under leveled, but I just decided I had seen the done, so I was like, look, I'm just gonna go in and see if I can actually beat Z, and if I take a wipe, I'll FF. But it ended up working out.
Yeah, no, it worked out great. You had exactly what you needed, the hybrid strats. What I was saying while you were in the fight is really you just want to skip that first Big Bang. You just want to have enough power to not have to deal with, because otherwise you get Big Bang into Big Bang, essentially. That ends up being really nasty. But you handled that fight well. And honestly, your routing, I mean, I think it was great. And this just turned out to be a seed that really rewarded you with the bosses, because Cubs was incentivized to do Zot 1 to try to find weak, right? Going for that strategy, and happened to find Golbez along his way, and then happened to find it was Water Hack at the element spot. So sometimes rando gonna rando, and I love that you have the mindset of like, yeah, you know what, I played that well. That's just what happened to this seed, and you've got 1 or hopefully 2 more games to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought it was a fun seed. Foo's there's been a lot of Foo rolled C's lately, and I mean, I feel like you could put it in front of each individual person that plays this game, and they could all play it entirely differently, and that's the fun. That's the fun with a Foo seed. You never know, because you never know what spells are gonna pop up, and I tried to take elements, and that didn't work out, and I said I'm not coming back. And I had Edge. He had 2 ninja blades, I think, and I said, I'm just gonna go and hope for the best. And if the route is not the route of choice, then so be it. But the things on my route that I ended up taking, like the gauntlet with the hourglasses, the evil wall, I was extremely happy to get through in one attempt.
Yeah, it was very well done.
So yeah, it was a great. I had a lot of fun with this one.
Well, that's the important thing, right? So I'm glad to hear that. Deathlike, you got any questions for Frankie?
I guess the only question is the how the spells came out. I think you learned Quake or is it Stone after beating the dolls. I think you didn't have Quake, which you might have picked up if you had probably done elements like that whole like that. How did you feel how the spells were being gated?
It's very much not in my favor as as with some of the other RNG tonight. And that's okay, but I think I was really close. I should have toad strat. I played too
Yeah,
aggressive.
yeah,
I
yeah,
should have
yeah. We were
definitely done the
saying
toad
that,
strat, but
but that's
I
okay.
think I think what happened was in my mind the blue doll, I was coming up with some number that I'm now forgetting of what their HP is. And I thought that I could get there with lightning 3 and edge's spells. And I did have one. I feel like if I had one or two J items in my inventory left, I would have been fine. But I just didn't have it, and I could not get another spell off before the big doll came around. So, that's just kind of the way when you play aggressive like that. That's just kind of how it goes. And I think my fault there was miscalculating how much HP I thought I needed to chew through. If I'd had calculated that or remembered, I guess I should say remembered it correctly, then Toad Strats would have been the much safer route to go there.
Yeah, but I like the aggressiveness, honestly. A lot of what's interesting to me about this game is trying to push the boundaries of how fast you can get through these fights by sort of skirting those boundaries, right? Like the HP thresholds and whatnot. I want to say it's 4% for the front dolls and 8% for the back dolls. So
Yeah,
whatever 8% of
dolls,
25k hit points are.
back
2k
dolls are double.
quakes. Yeah, 2k quakes like did not take out one of the dolls. We saw that on Cubs' side. He had to punch it to
that must have been.
get that down.
I think I had the lightning 3s at that. I was well short then, so yeah, that's just a fault of not remembering. Correctly
They
how
actually
much
have
they had.
exactly 2,000, so it must have done a little bit less. I'm just doing the math, 25,000 times 0.08. Though it might not be exactly that, but still, it's close enough. But yeah, that's okay.
I really think I was close. I'm gonna have to go back and look now because it's gonna bother me.
Yeah,
But yes, I feel like I was close. But oh well, so be it.
All right, well, I think it's about time to let you go there, but any last words for us? But otherwise, just big GGs from me. This was a pleasure to watch, and I'm really looking forward to your next game. Well, actually, that's a good question. When is your next game scheduled for, or when do you think it might be scheduled for?
We don't have it scheduled yet. It will be next week sometime.
Okay.
So definitely, it's not gonna be this weekend. So sometime after Monday, we'll probably chat this weekend and see when we want to
Okay,
play.
yeah, sounds good. Yeah, that's the situation with me and Decker too. So yeah, there'll be some good races next week.
We'll chat, get that scheduled, and then just keep practicing. GG's to Cubs, man. He played a heck of a race tonight. Get through it in 104 is pretty impressive. So I'm not even sure if I routed this correctly. I would have gone through it that fast. So GG's to him. Thank you, Solaris and Deathlike, for doing comms tonight. Soapbox Gamer on the tracking, and Scala for doing the restream. Everyone is much appreciated on this end for volunteering for all your hard work behind the scenes.
And thanks for letting us, restream you, and it was a real pleasure. Until next time.
Yeah, everyone have a good night. Thank you.
GG's against Frankie.
Thank you.
All right. I mean, blink and suddenly you've mastered the piano. It's basically what happened this seed. Call back to the start of this. Anyways, yeah. So we're done with Free Enterprise for the night, but we do have a raid target. Before I name the raid target, I do want to let you all know. I want to say this is the end of races for this week. I don't think there's anything. I'm just looking really quick. Yeah, I don't think there's anything scheduled for Sunday. But so of course we're at the kind of the real end of our tournament season, so there's not many matches left, but there are a lot of really good matches, and you'll want to join our Discord or follow us on Twitter because those are going to be your two best sources to find when our next week matches are going to be scheduled. We don't schedule them; we schedule them the week of. So none of us remaining races have really scheduled those yet, but come Monday, you'll start to see those come in. So definitely, again, come to the Discord. Follow us on Twitter. Those are going to be the two best places to get that information. But for now, we're going to be heading over to Fluffy Cactus, who is doing Blue Moon Flags.
Yeah,
And no spoilers and all that. And Deathlike, this was a real pleasure.
it was a lot of fun. Hope you guys, this is a reminder, don't spoil. I think newspapers fly around. That's what the rumors are. Although I think
I'm pretty sure Scala has perfected newspapering to the point of it's like a nuke. It's like a tactical nuke, but they're newspapers. It is literally newspaper aga. But see, my brain went past newspaper aga because that's a tier 3 elemental. These are my brain is to like whites and nukes, but still, regardless, no spoilers.
Have a good night, and see you all next seed.
Bye.